Jujutsu Kaisen 0. We watched it.
Great movie.
That's it. Bye, guys.
Welcome to the Jujutsu Kaisen review. Let's get into
Jujutsu
it.
Kaisen 0.
Nobody cares about. Oh, right, 0. Not the series.
Not the whole series.
I will curse.
For some introduction, I have not seen the show. I've only seen this movie. And I've watched 20 minutes of the first episode or something.
You dropped it that quickly?
Yeah, I didn't get
I
past
thought you
the
at
first
least
episode.
watched the first episode.
I think
Wow.
I did watch the full first episode.
Oh.
I didn't watch anything after that. But I haven't seen the regular series. All I've seen is this movie. My other co-hosts, Ramen Cat and Boom, have watched it and read some of the manga.
I watched the anime as it was coming out, and then I watched the movie in theaters, watched it again for the review, and read a little bit of the manga. Ramen Cat just watched the movie, watched the anime, and read.
I've watched the anime when it was coming out.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. But then
Then
the
I
manga, you read
I,
most of the manga?
I read all of Jujutsu Kaisen 0, which is just one book.
Oh, that's right.
I have most of Jujutsu Kaisen,
Right.
like one of the few manga that I have a bunch of.
Yeah, that's the hard part of manga collecting. It definitely is a scattered hobby.
Yeah, there was another one that I can't remember. Oh, I have the first half of Noragami as well.
Oh, that's cool. Anyways, yeah, let's get into the review. So, Ramen Cat, as you were not wanting to watch the movie for the longest time because you hated the manga.
Yeah,
What did you
it's
think of
weird
the
because I hated the prequel, love the series.
Yeah.
I mean, it is good stuff.
What did you hate about the manga?
Oh,
Yeah.
about the manga, it felt rushed because the fact that it was laid out to format with a magazine,
Mhm.
because they have manga magazines.
Yeah.
Because we don't have cool stuff like that here in the US. But the story felt really disjointed and just hurried. Everything just felt like it just went by in a snap.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the delivery of certain things in it. It just, like I said, it felt rushed.
So,
Did you not feel that way about the movie?
I didn't, because it seemed like they padded out a little bit of stuff. Like, for example, towards the end of the movie, like the big battle between like all the sorcerers and stuff.
the 100
Yeah, the
100 curse
demon
parade
parade.
or something? Yeah.
They actually, I mean, because they showed some of the combat and stuff. And the manga, it's Gojo saying there's something wrong, Geto isn't here.
Yeah.
And then it just cuts to Yuta and Geto fighting and that whole thing.
Oh, so they don't have the first years fighting Geto.
I think, yeah, they do have the first years. Like, that's all in there. And if I remember right, like, there's a little bit of like build. The thing is there's a big build up to the battle.
Yeah.
And then it's not there.
I got you.
Oh, it doesn't show the main battle going on.
Yeah, and it's
It
just
shows.
little things like that.
Okay.
And this was in the movie, and this was the one part I didn't like about the movie or the manga, is where Yuta and Maki get eaten by like the curse at the school.
Okay. Yep.
And then it's just randomly, oh, you have to find the reason why you're doing this. Like, it's just no.
Yeah.
Usually you get to that point after a little while of like, okay, this is kind of the hero's journey type thing of like, why are you actually doing this? This is just, oh, this is your first day in the field. Why are you doing this?
I do get a little annoyed of that thing being in stories because it's such a storytelling thing of like, what's the character's motivation? It's like real people aren't like, you don't go to work and go to your boss and it's like, what is your motivation for your job here?
Or the
whatever.
fact of real life is, what is your motivation? My motivation is a complex web of abstract thoughts that
Especially
no man can
this
understand.
kid who's like, he has no motivation. That's the point. He was just brought in here because he wants to kill himself. And the teacher's like, hey, I want you to, learn stuff. Like, of course he doesn't have any motivation. What the heck?
I think that's what Maki was trying to get through to him, is that, yeah, he was just kind of following along, but she was trying to like get through his skull that he needed to come up with a motivation to actually live.
And
Yeah.
that's the big thing that I think is kind of the polar opposite for, say, like the actual series of
Yeah.
Jujutsu Kaisen is Yuji has a clear-cut goal. It doesn't make
Yep.
sense, but it's his grandfather's dying wish was that he helped people even if they didn't need him, and so that way when Yuji dies, like people actually that love him will be around him.
He kind of has that classic shonen.
He does, but he has a motivation, because it's like, well, I'm on death row, I'm gonna just try to help out where I can, otherwise I'm just gonna sit here and die.
Yeah.
Where it kind of seemed out of place, because Yuta's story should have been more nurturing rather than smack in the face and be like, get out there and fight.
Yeah. It is like, here's a traumatized child. Let's smack him around and get him to work.
For people that know Jujutsu Kaisen, it's kind of Gojo's teaching style.
It is Gojo's teaching style, and I'm glad it happened that way compared to like the nurturing style, because what's his name? Yuta could very easily turn into like a Shinji character.
Yeah.
If they would have done it slightly differently, like if they would have let him have his "oh, woe is me" moments, but instead everybody was just like, just get over it. Just
yeah, we've all had worse things happen.
Exactly. That was like the that sorcerer, you have to be cursed.
Yeah, and that is kind of a cool thing, I guess, as I think about it, is with Yuta's thing, is it also brings to surface like why other characters are there, like all the first year students, like Maki's story of like how she doesn't have the ability to see curses or anything like that. Like she's absent of jujitsu or what,
she's
being a sorcerer.
Absent of cursed energy.
Yeah.
Like she's like actually not cursed, which is odd for her family.
Right.
Yeah.
And like the dude, I can't think of his name and I don't see him in the list. The guy that like can speak curses. He was stuck with that since he was a baby.
Yeah.
Which I imagine is all kinds of horrible trauma, probably.
Yeah.
Togi, yeah.
He's super cool.
So yeah, I do kind of see that, where it's like once you become a jujutsu sorcerer, it's like in the long run, your traumas don't really matter, because they make you who you are.
In a way, I can relate Jujutsu Kaisen very much to the Chainsaw Man.
Yeah.
Like every character in Chainsaw
has
Man has a reason why they're a demon hunter, and it's not a good reason.
Yeah.
Like it's all very messed up.
Yeah, well, like with this, it's like a lot of them are just, oh, my family's always done this.
Yeah. Well, and that's a lot of like the prodigy characters, but if you look like
Nobara in the main series, she's just, I wanted to live in the city.
Well, no.
I mean, there's more to it, but
she was actually like hated on in her town.
Yeah.
Like she was kicked out of her town, so that's why she wants to live in the city, because like even in Zero, they talk like the two young sorcerers that are on
the one with the rope and the one
on Ghetto's side.
Yeah, they even say like, do you know how bad sorcerers are treated, like not in the city?
Yeah.
Like they're treated as like witches and stuff. So it's like it's actually like persecution that goes on to like people that are cursed.
I guess thinking of it too, Yuta's curse, if he would have been more nurtured rather than just kind of forced to come out of his shell, then his curse, which is his dead girlfriend Rika, probably would have just gotten worse yet.
Yeah.
Because she kind of had to be brought out too to fix things.
She had to be brought out, and it's also funny too. She had to be like controlled.
Yeah.
Which is because obviously she's like this overbearing, specialized anomaly that can't be like controlled by anybody.
Yeah.
So it's cool, that whole dynamic of like he actually has to be like brought up in a hard mentor like way,
so that he can control like, the curse too.
Yeah. But anyways, that's kind of diving in deep into just like one aspect. How did you like the overall movie, say compared to like the manga, or even just in general?
1,000-fold, because one, the manga art all through the series, it's good, but it's not great.
Right.
The animation and the art, the music, everything in this was just like exhilarating to me.
The music is amazing.
They cue like the music in like some of the more epic scenes and fights and stuff, where it's like it's not overbearing, it's not super present, but when the bits that you catch of it, it's just like, yeah, come on, let's go.
It is pretty hype inducing. I do love, especially in the battles. Like sometimes battle music is kind of like
cheesy and overbearing.
Yeah, but this actually felt like it was you know, in the old times, I think they still do this, but like I think of Star Wars when I think of like really good like soundtrack music. Like they're watching the movie as they're like making the soundtrack.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like they did with this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It feels very choreographed. Like they're watching like, okay, something's happening in this fight, we're gonna change the music up. And
I think the other big thing I liked about this is the first years in this, they're the second years in the anime, and this kind of just makes you like them and appreciate them more.
Yeah.
They don't look like such stuck-up jerks in the anime anymore,
right?
because it's like, oh yeah, you guys have been through a lot of crap already.
Yeah, their school got nuked.
Yeah.
Not even 6 months before Yuji
Showed
comes
up.
along, and then all of a sudden they get introduced to Yuji, and Yuji's like the vessel for like the biggest demon lord.
Yeah, and they're
Could you imagine the PTSD that's happening for these people?
yeah, they're probably like, well, we dealt with the queen of curse, the queen like curse of all curses, and then Yuji shows up, so he's carrying the king of curses. Not again. We just did this.
We just did this. I want to go home.
The other thing I like with this, because Gojo is my absolute favorite character in all of this.
Yeah.
Second to probably like Yuji and Yuta. Is Gojo technically is not like the whole jujitsu system, but like Gojo is not technically good nor bad.
Yep.
Because like when they're talking about executing Yuta, it's like, no, just remember, if you guys go with that decision, I'll take his side.
Well, the wild
Yeah,
thing is
that is
he's
cool.
part of. There's 4 special grade sorcerers.
Mm-hmm.
There was Yuta, Satoru, and Geto.
Yep.
There's a third one. I don't know who it is. I don't know if they say it in the anime. I do not remember.
No, I think the third person, I'm not sure because I haven't read for far enough into the manga, is probably the reason why there's kind of that rift between
Yeah.
the two of them.
Well, yeah, that could be. But so like special grade sorcerers are like above everything.
Mhm.
So like they just decide what they want to do.
Yeah.
So that's a cool aspect to it.
I love the villain with this. Geto is just a good villain. He is arrogant and condescending in his own way, but
Yeah.
yet he's also like loving and nurturing to his own like minions.
He's that bad guy that you know needs to be stopped, or else like what is actually good gets like corrupted.
Yeah.
But like he's good enough at the opposite end where you're like, you know what, he's not a bad
To his
guy.
people, he's not a bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the part where he takes like all of his sorcerers and goes to the school to declare war on the school, and
Yeah.
then like the one girl's like, hurry up, the shops are gonna close. Like, oh yeah, I forgot about that, so see ya.
Yeah.
Because he actually somewhat cares about like his
Yeah, well, and he also like
prodigies.
the weird part is he goes and has like a conversation with them instead of like going and attacking them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's a cordial and kind of terrifying villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like even in the anime, like the main series, even his minions, like for the most part, are pretty, like aside from like when they get into like combat or something, are pretty chill.
Yeah.
Like they're kind of reserved and everything. And
Yep.
he's not that atypical, I'm just a roving madman. Yeah, he murders people,
Right.
but at the same time, it's weird. He's a benevolent psychopath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is cool.
Kind of like he's got like this temple, so he can basically generate revenue
Yeah,
for
revenue
like his
and
stuff.
also acquire curses.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
And it's like some people, if they make him mad, he'll kill them. Other people, it's like, oh yeah, well, it's like of course to collect curses off him, but at the same time, it's like he'll just like go along, yada yada yada.
Yep.
He's interesting. I like him.
He is. All right, Weez. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts as somebody that dropped the anime but was forced to watch the movie?
It was pretty good. I liked it. It's fun, classic shonen stuff. I don't know.
And the movie and the anime pretty much follow the same kind of beats.
Okay.
Just
That's
in a
kinda what I
longer
figured.
Pace.
It's good. I liked it. It didn't blow my mind. It wasn't like amazing, but it was a good movie. I think it's a good introduction to the show too, if you're like interested in watching it. Because it is interesting. It shows you enough of the world where it's like interesting. Instead, the like first episode just shows you the main characters and like this very specific situation and doesn't explain like anything.
Right.
So from the first episode, you don't get much out of it, but the movie actually explains like a little bit more of the world, so you kind of see the overall like what this is kind of about.
Yeah, it definitely, in a way, I almost, to try to get people into the series, I think it'd be easier to say, hey, watch the movie
Yeah.
and then watch the series.
Yeah, because the anime is slow.
Yeah.
It is very slow.
It literally takes almost 5 episodes before you start getting into stuff.
Yeah.
The movie is also really good looking. I know the show is too, but like it's really good looking and it's got cool
It's
action
good
and stuff.
looking,
Like
and it mixes up the slow moments enough with fight scenes where it doesn't
Yeah.
get boring. Where the anime itself, if you're not invested in the story, like the slow moments definitely feel longer than the fight scenes, because the fight
Mhm.
scenes have that shonen-esque thing where it's like 2 halves of an episode collide and that's the whole fight scene.
Yeah.
Like they're really well drawn out and done. They're not bad fight scenes, but they're quick.
Yeah. Also, I got it. Oh, so sorry. I was
No,
gonna
go
say
ahead.
just an afterthought. Kudos to this being one of the few anime, just the movie and the anime, of really cool design monsters.
Yeah.
That's usually to me like the weakest point in most anime. Not all, but like most of them are pretty lazy about like their creatures and designs and
I
stuff.
didn't love the monster designs. I thought they were okay.
They get better in the anime. I don't
Okay.
know. I thought Rika looked pretty cool.
Well, Rika was an actual like
Full manifested.
Yeah.
Most of the monsters, I do get what Weez is saying. Most of the monsters are like pretty generic, like blob type
Yeah.
creatures.
Yeah.
But like the main monsters
Yeah.
and stuff are usually pretty cool.
It's kind of like Chainsaw Man, where the low level monsters are kind of just like
They're-
it's a monster.
Yeah.
And then, like the high level ones are like the ones that are like
I think
super
all the things I
detailed.
dislike about Jujutsu Kaisen is like stuff I don't personally like a lot, not necessarily something that I think is wrong with it.
yeah.
Like I don't love the overall design of like the monsters and stuff. I think they're well made, but they don't like stick in my mind. I can't like picture any of them except the main
not
girl.
like a Noragami Neon Toad.
Yeah, like Noragami
Yeah.
is like the weird neon, like I don't know. It is similar to this, but it kind of works because it's more of like it works for me better because it's less serious. It's more like flippant kind of, like
Yeah.
weird monsters. This is like weird monsters, but it's also serious, and it comes off to me a little bit goofy and a little bit like horrifying together, and doesn't. I don't know. The vibe is just weird to me. It's like goofy and scary together.
Uncanny.
Yeah, like a little uncanny in like a way that doesn't fit super well, because it feels like uncanny stuff is usually like really horrifying concepts and stuff, and this is just like, oh, these are monsters we have to kill, and they're just like really uncanny, uncomfortable, like I don't know.
Oh, the
Blob.
the school of like swordfish or like is kind of like a cool
That was
monster
cool.
idea.
I did like this. Cool
There are
swordfish.
some monsters too, like the one that's in the scene where Gato takes it like off the girl's shoulder. I noticed it. I never noticed it in the anime because I don't know if they do it that much, but a lot of the monsters are actually pulled from folklore.
That's what I
Because
figured.
like
Yes,
that
they are.
thing being like on the girl's shoulders and like strangling her, that's like a ghost in
Yep.
Japanese folklore.
That's what I figured with these two, is they're like very heavily like
It's
folklore
very much
inspired.
folklore based, but it's like got like an artistic.
twist
Yeah.
on it.
Also, a lot of the demons and a lot of the main villains are just references to other anime.
Oh, are they?
Mm.
Yes. So like there's references to Junji Ito and like the manga and stuff like that. So like a lot of the more detailed ones are like the main bad guys, and a lot of the other lesser known ones are kind of like the abstract ones that are taken from folklore, where like the paintings and the tales are more abstract of like what the curses and yokai and stuff
Yeah.
look
Yeah.
like.
It does make sense. I think this is one of the reasons Demon Slayer is more popular in Jujutsu Kaisen 2, is because the monsters are more like, they're kind of simpler in the design of them. So they're like
Well, yeah, like
more
the most-
easily recognizable.
the most recent one, it's just koi fish with a pot stuck to
Yeah.
the top of them. Like it's pretty
Or like
easy
early
to-
on, there's like the arm demon that just has arms like
Yeah.
all over its body. So it's like, it's still scary and whatever, but it's very like kind of, you understand what's going on. These monsters are more like over the top, you don't know what's going on. So they are original. It's just they don't stick in my mind that well.
I don't know for a fact, but I feel like they do that because they are curses that are from emotional energy.
Yeah.
They're
makes
not
sense.
like physical.
It's not like a
monsters.
physical thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it does make sense.
Where kind of like Chainsaw Man's monsters are all physical.
Yeah, they're
and
all
more
physical.
kind of hard set,
Yep,
Yeah.
they're actual devils.
except for the
demons.
Infinity Devil. That thing messed with my head. The concept of it.
They showed the Oh yeah, the Infinity Devil. Yeah, I was thinking Darkness. Darkness is really wild. Wait until they animate that.
So overall, I did like the movie. It was enjoyable to watch.
That's good.
It
I'm
was
glad
fun.
you enjoyed it.
It didn't like amaze me or make me like super wanna watch it though.
See,
It was just fine.
and that's the good thing about this is it's not the next Ghost in the Shell or like
Yeah.
the next Akira.
Mhm.
It's just a add-on to a series that
Yeah.
people like, and it's not bad.
And it
That's
works
kind of
by
the
itself.
weird thing, though. It's not really the add-on; it's the actual beginning. They're just like, "Hey, this worked. Let's show them the start."
well, in a way,
Yeah.
it's an add-on because it adds context to a lot.
Yeah,
It is cool though. It works by itself. It's got an interesting world. So if you're interested in the world, you'll want to check out
Yeah.
the rest of the series. But it also just works as a story by itself. There's like a ton of side characters I don't know or don't really care about because you barely see them, but I'm sure they're important like later. But just the main thing that happens is
you should
interesting.
always care about Kento.
Now, for my point of view, which is the point of view I've watched the series, I watched the movie in the theaters, and I got to watch the second time just yesterday. I saw so many references that I just missed. Like, there's so many little details that reference the main series in this
Yeah.
that you just don't.
Well, I could be wrong in this, but it's kind of like in the series. I don't know if you caught it, but when Yuji and Megami are talking about like rescuing the prisoners out of the jail.
Yeah.
And Megami's like, I did my research on this. You know what this guy did? He hit a little girl.
Yep.
And this is why he's in jail. I don't know because of the time frame difference if that's the guy that hit Rika.
Probably because like killing a little girl would be more than I'd hope a 10-year sentence.
Well, and he would have been a teenager and now he's a young adult in jail.
Right.
So it's like little things like that, like,
Yep.
or just the simple thing. If you've never read Zero or watched the movie, when you hear about like Gojo say, "Oh yeah, my other student Yuta is abroad,"
Mhm.
I don't know who the heck that is.
Right. Exactly.
And then you hear about this, like,
Yeah. Or even just all the references to like in Zero, I think they added this. They probably didn't do in the manga as much, obviously, because it's before the actual series. But all the little references to like the anime and stuff like that, and like just not references like they're referencing it, but like lead. How
you see where things are lining
you see the
up.
thread starting of the storyline, especially with the second years
Yeah.
that are the first years in the movie, like Maki, Toga, and Panda. Like their character growth is 100 times better after watching the movie.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Because if you haven't watched the movie, they just kind of come across as a kind of douchey.
Yeah, and it's also really cool too, watching the series and then watching the movie because like, Gojo kind of threatens during like the parade thing, threatens like one of the sorcerers. He's like, I'm running late for something.
Yeah.
It's like, oh Lord, he's gonna kill people. Because like in the anime, you see him just go full out. Like in Zero, because I don't think it was a concept that existed, but like domains,
Yeah.
they don't really reference it besides for the blue-haired girl uses a partial domain as like a cursed ability, like use her
I
katana.
think the only reason they focus on domains is because that was Sukuna's specialty. So like I think most of those curses and stuff that start using that and why
Yeah.
they start using it is because those particular curses are stemming off from
That would make sense, and that's probably also why like the second years can use like partial domains and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because they're more advanced.
Yeah, because a domain is basically your like absolute power.
Yeah. It's basically like
I'm going to bend reality to what I want it to be.
it's kind of like the stand version It's kind of like your stand. Like,
Yeah.
Like stand users are powerful by themselves, but like their stand like their ultimate thing, right? So like a domain is just like, if I want to kill this person or make sure that they're never gonna like make sure I hit them, that's when I activate like my domain.
Yeah.
So
I think one of the cool things too, and it was explained in this, and I don't think it was explained in the anime, at least not yet, is the fact of they constantly are coming up with things throughout the anime of, well, curses can do this. Oh, this curse has this specialty thing. And then the movie, Gojo's like, yeah, there's so many different curses and curse forms and skills. You probably should figure there's everything possible out there. Which is why some curses will be like, oh, well, this is the rules of this. And then it's like, okay, why is this one not adhering to this rule?
Yeah. It's cool, all the like little in-depth stories. How about let's go to this. So is there any general dislikes of the movie that you guys did not like?
I have a bunch of them, and they're all kind of personal preference more than a problem with the movie.
Okay.
Or the general story. I dislike the concept of it being like Harry Potter.
Okay.
I kind of get sick of the school setting where it's like we go to a school to learn things, and then a bunch of stuff happens when we have to like fight demon lords or whatever.
Aha, but that is explained in the anime. It's actually not even technically a school. That's just a front for it. It's basically a temple,
a military like thing, because there's so
it's
many.
basically just a military installation.
Yeah, because in the anime they explain it's like, yeah, after people get done with their training and stuff, they still use this place as their base of operations or like to pick up contracts and stuff.
The thing, like, I just wish that was more explained or more like clear, because there's too many stories that's just like, this is a school. Oh no, you gotta fight the bad guys while you're in school being protected and you're a kid. And it's just like, I lose all sense of reality when it's just like, you're going to school and also we just accidentally let in this like horrific monster that you have to fight.
I think
while you're in school.
I think what Weez needs is the American treatment of it. Here's this chain gun, Timmy. Go fight the xenomorph.
That's kind of how it was. And we're not going to like defend every single point. Just this one point, because I think there's a good explanation for it. You remember in the anime where he sends the voice guy, Togi and Panda, to basically go die?
Yeah.
That's kind of how they treat anybody and everybody. Like, they're just soldiers.
Yeah.
Like, he's not protecting them. The only reason he sent them to go protect Yuji is because if Geto got a hold of the curse, then like they just lose.
Yeah.
So
and it does make sense, but it's also like he brought this Yuta in to this like school that's actually just like he basically just forced him into military combat.
More like think of it like like a Shaolin temple.
Yeah, but it's like he just kidnapped a traumatized kid and brought him into a military organization that instantly put him in a ton of danger.
Yep.
So at that point, it's like, I don't really like the good guys anymore.
They're not good guys.
They're not good
the thing.
Like,
they're just the guys that make sure the humans don't die.
Yeah. So it's a little weird because like I don't really.
Also, Gojo is just a very off the wall person.
Yeah,
because I think he tries to keep upbeat because I think he's actually kind of a really super dark character in his background.
And it does make sense. It's just a little weird that like this happens. I don't know. It just I can't get my head around to like a school.
It's an odd concept.
It's a little bit too much where I can't relate or understand anything that's going on because the school situation makes no sense whatsoever.
And that's kind of the downfall of just watching the movie, because the movie does say school over and over again.
Yeah.
And like in the anime, technically they do stuff like training. They have a training arc for like the students, but like,
when Gojo's explained to Yuji though, he's like, yeah, our front is we're a religious school.
Yeah.
Also, it's just very similar to Harry Potter. Like Gojo is just like Dumbledore, who's just kind of like this quirky, weird guy who's extremely powerful and runs the school. And then like I don't know,
he's better.
The students come in. The first years it kind of suck. The second years are super powerful.
I don't know.
don't
For the second years, kind of sucked too.
Yeah,
Everyone
but I mean,
kinda
like,
sucks.
yeah.
I think your mind just got ruined when you read Harry Potter.
I guess I just partially, if I
Harry Potter
I've
is
seen-
like Game of Thrones. It threw together all the cliches and made it work.
I mean, kind of, but it's like it created a lot of the cliches that shows like this then also followed the cliches. So then I just kind of like I don't
think
know.
the school thing is just so present because in Japan and most of Asia,
Yeah.
school is incredibly important.
And that's the other thing of just too many school situation things. I don't know. I'd find this more interesting if it wasn't set in a school.
Pretty sure.
Well, here's the thing: when you do that, you know what you get?
But-
America.
Chainsaw Man.
yeah, which
we're,
I like.
we're government contractors.
I like Chainsaw Man more than this, so it fits.
Okay.
Um,
Anyways, continue with your list of complaints.
Let's see. The other thing. Oh, I
Duly
didn't
noted
I-
and ignored.
dislike. One problem I have with this is a problem I have with shonen in general, not specifically this. Of just the ending was kind of lame because it's just like, oh, I just used the superpowers I have and I defeat the enemy.
You didn't like the love nuke.
No,
Okay.
I didn't. It sucked. It's just
The thing I think that made the love nuke kind of suck is there was an agreement to that. He was going to like
Yeah.
sacrifice himself, and then it was like, oh, whoops, I
this
broke
is
the
something
curse.
that like yeah, which I mean it's fine. It wasn't like I hate the show now. It was just like the ending was a little bit lackluster because
yeah,
the thing that makes shonen fights good is either there's a complex strategy that like makes sense, where by the end of it you're like, oh, I could kind of figure out how this would work. That's actually like a good smart strategy, or it's like something deep within the character happens. You care enough about the character and their situation where them learning this thing actually like lets them live up to their potential or whatever. Those are like the two ways it works. And in like Hunter x Hunter, it's like all about the like strategies, and then other shows are just like about the characters learning and growing. And this just, I guess I didn't care enough about Yuta of his deal that it didn't work, and the strategy was just, I'm gonna give up my life, I guess. I think I can do that, and then love nuke, and then the end.
I think the cool part, or as somebody that has more invested in the lore or like the story,
Mm-hmm.
it makes more sense that it just happened that he broke the curse, because he's a prodigal sorcerer
Yeah.
from like a bloodline that's like super strong, as well as he was finally able to fully control cursed energy.
Yeah.
Which in the anime, Yuji, when he's able to fully control it, he's like there's this move which actually Yuta does when he punches Geto.
Yeah.
You know how all the flashing and stuff was like different colors,
Mm.
and then the final punch was black?
Yeah.
That's called a black flash.
Okay.
And in that's like the ultimate like form of like cursed energy
Mm-hmm.
being produced through the body. He's able to do that, which shows that he's like able to control all of it.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
like,
'cause-
and when you let cursed energy like completely, you're able to control it fully, you basically become semi-godlike.
Mm.
That's why Geto thought like humans are just so inferior to him, because like,
Yeah, because it's basically not only do you physically get to hurt somebody, you basically, when you punch someone with it, you punch their soul.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're controlling like souls
cool.
and stuff like that. So like once he unleashes, like does the deal and unleashes the love nuke. I know it's not an actual love nuke, but
Yeah.
it just seems that way.
It's basically
Just like, I love you so much, I'll die for you. Then a giant nuke goes off.
Yeah. The other thing I had was just why this thing was so powerful. Like Yuta's situation wasn't that bad. It was just like his best friend who got hit by a car.
It was a common. Okay, so with the thing of curses, is curses are purely drawn, kind of like in origami, they're purely drawn from like human emotions. So curses
Yeah.
can't exist without humans.
Mhm.
And love's the strongest emotion.
Okay.
So mixed with one of the strongest sorcerer bloodlines, accidentally cursing him.
Yeah.
So it just seems like
Well,
this would happen more often.
No, because
It wouldn't.
it was a combo of him accidentally cursing her because he's a sorcerer.
Yeah.
Paired with the fact of, I think, like, even though they were little kids, she like legitimately just like loved him with all
Yeah.
her heart. Plus, divided times 2 the trauma of watching the person that you love most have their head smashed. Like,
Yeah.
if I remember
It is-
in the manga, there's like a panel. It's like her eye is hanging out, just
Yeah.
like blood soaked.
Yeah, you have to have like the super rare bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
Check. You have to have like childhood love. Check. They randomly have to die. Check. It's just like
Yeah.
so many random.
I mean,
things.
yeah, it is a lot of things, but it also like if he's that powerful of a bloodline, why is he not being watched?
Because they didn't know about. They're not like they're a
Like-
shadow organization, but they fumble a lot because
Yeah.
there's
They're
so much.
kinda
That's
like-
the other
There's so
thing.
much bureaucracy.
That's the problem.
They're
Is it
kind of
gets
like
to
the FBI.
it gets to a point where it's just like, oh, it seems like everybody's incompetent. It's kind of a
It's
thing
the
that
higher-ups.
happens.
That's why Gojo just
Yeah.
disappears randomly because he's like, I guess I gotta go do this.
Yeah, it just seems like I don't know. It's a thing that happens in like Harry Potter 2, where it's just like the only reason this stuff is happening is because everyone here is extremely incompetent.
kind of like
Yeah.
America.
Which I mean, it is like real life where people are incompetent at their job, but it's also like we're the shadow organization. We're the like coolest people around. It's like no, you're not. You all
Well,
suck.
if you didn't have him be like that, everyone would be like John Wick. Like, we're on point. This man farted in a corner. We got to go kill him.
Yeah, which
Kind of
makes
think
sense.
about it
But
this way: they're kind of like the Jedi Council.
yeah,
Like they're super
but they were
powerful.
still competent enough where it didn't. You know, it just
I think with this,
They were
is-
competent enough to let the ultimate Sith Lord
just like.
sit above them
Yeah.
for 10 plus years.
I mean, they still did stuff.
I
Like they
think
stopped
with this.
certain bad things from happening.
The Shadow Organization didn't let everybody die when the
The-
1,000 demons let loose on the city.
Yeah, that's true.
I
but
think
like,
what it is the higher ups, like the head of the schools, are incompetent because they're so stuck in their ways. But like the actual agents out in the field, like none of them really acknowledge the higher ups. They're like, yeah,
Yeah.
this is a bunch of morons. I'm doing this.
it just seems like there's this kid who has such a powerful bloodline that just like it's a pretty big tragedy, but just like one tragedy happens and he suddenly becomes one of the 4 most powerful people in the world.
I don't know.
like-
Some mighty powerful men in the real world let tragedy power it.
It seems like that would be something you would be more interested if you knew that's how it worked, that you would be more interested in it happening. Also, just as the viewer, it's like I don't really get it. Like it just felt like a really, really
That's because
Strong
Zero
coincidence.
is rushed.
Yeah.
Also, it runs on the concept of a lot of coincidence.
It's also
like,
the plot
like
yeah.
Yuji.
or the pilot.
That and like yeah, it just feels too plot to me instead
Yeah.
of an actual story that of something that could happen. It just feels like the plot
all of
is
anime
forcing
plot?
this person.
Yeah.
The difference is
I will say I did know a guy in history that got denied the art school and lots of bad things happened, and that wasn't too traumatic. So
I know, but like he didn't just suddenly inherit the power.
Alexander
from-
the Great. Look how great I am. I'm taking over the world.
It's just
no,
like
I get what you're
oh
saying.
frick,
It
my
does-
wife died. Now I have godlike powers.
I think also too, it's that thing of you have to think like he is six, I think 16 in this, he is 10 in that. So it's
Yeah.
like you have to take the emotions like already super strong emotions running with a little kid. Now with children compared to adults who are usually jaded, it's
Yeah.
like without limit in that point. Like I know I'm
Anyways,
probably
It-
reading way
yeah,
too deep.
I know it.
but-
It kind of like makes sense, but at the same time, it just kind of killed my immersion into the world.
Yeah.
If it feels too convenient.
What's your next point?
Oh, the last thing is just it does feel a little bit rushed, especially with Yuta just kind of like showing up, not really wanting to be there, and then just kind of, I don't know.
They don't
It's like-
convey that time passed.
I
very
think this
well.
is so. All my complaints are like with Shonen itself, with the concept being too similar to another story, and just movies themselves. I just have a problem with movies.
Yeah.
Movies are too short, and so you don't get any moments to breathe, and you don't get any moments to like really. There's not enough build up to make the crazy things that happen satisfying.
We need a Zack Snyder Jujutsu Kaisen cut.
Bring out the
like
Zack,
yeah, I know. It's like it would suck if all movies were like 4 hours. That would be awful. But it just
Fun fact: in the 50s, they used to be.
yeah, it's just
That's
something
true.
I like about TV shows more is there's enough build up and like time with the characters that I can really care for them. Whereas in this, I didn't really care about any of the characters. It was just kind of like the show was like just seeing what happened.
I feared for the villains' lives.
Yeah, I was more scared for the bad guy.
Yeah.
I was like, I know you survived. I haven't seen any of the rest
Like,
of
I
you.
liked Panda. Gojo's pretty cool. Yuta was okay.
I was worried Yuta was going to be a Shinji.
Yeah.
Because that's how I
Yeah.
felt he seemed like in the manga.
Well, and that's what I was saying. If they would have done his story arc a little bit differently, he would have been a Shinji.
Yeah.
And
he
I
would have been a crybaby up until the moment where he actually had to do something.
I think the big thing is they just don't convey time passing good in it.
Yeah.
It is kind of weird when they're like practicing with the sword. And he's like, and Panda's like, oh, he's gotten better after 3 months. I'm like, 3 months?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't even like notice it. It was just like, it would be nice if they just had like a time thing of just like 3 months later,
Yeah.
whatever, to like understand that there's passing of time. Cause it's just like
I think-
one cut, he's like, I don't want to go to school, I want to die. And then the next cut, he's just like, I am ready to learn my wizard power.
They should have done that because every single time like Rika comes out, they have this like, it's
Yeah,
almost like they're
anomaly.
reading like a file.
Yeah.
Where it's like on this day, at this time, for this many seconds, Rika, the anomaly comes
Yeah.
out. Just like, why didn't they also have like info things for like time and
Yeah.
stuff like
That
I
is
think-
a weird thing. Just
I think that's what made it kind of choppy
Okay.
feeling in the beginning.
a lot of anime or manga mainly overall, I've noticed, don't do that. We're so used to that with Western stuff. Like that's kind of a main staple,
Yeah.
especially in comic books. A
Yeah.
few days later.
I think about like in Star Wars, some of the moments that stick out to me are like Anakin and Obi-Wan just talking at the Jedi Temple and being like, you've been a good, there's like, there's history there because of the way
Yeah.
they talk. So you can understand that like time has passed. In this, it didn't feel like, it felt like 2 days later, he's unlocked God powers. And
2 days later, and I'm freaking Goku.
Yeah.
They do mention it. They at least take the courtesy to say,
Yeah.
3 months have
Time
passed.
has
And then
passed.
when he's fighting Geto, it's like, oh, this is what somebody can do. This is what you can do when you've only practiced for a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not super clear that
Exactly.
it kind of sticks in your head.
And that's just the failure of movies. Because if this would have been spanned out into like a short, like 6-episode series, it would have been way better.
Well, again, though, this was adapted from a story specifically meant for a magazine.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
time frame is spanned out
I
already.
think-
Probably from when it started to that point, probably was a physical 3 months.
I think they could have adapted it better to make it more of a movie instead of just trying to copy the
Yeah.
source material. Like they can add just a little bit to make it flow better.
They do with Jujutsu Kaisen. I think they did this because of the fact of this is also at that point where a lot of shows were really not sticking true.
Yeah.
Is they stick pretty
And
one
it's-
for one.
Yeah, I like that they stick very closely to the stories. It just felt like they could have a little bit transition be a little bit smoother
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, kind of like the fight being added in there, at least from the best I can
Yeah.
remember, is a nice change.
That's cool.
Yeah. Overall, I liked it though.
That's good.
All my complaints are just like very, I don't know, generic. Like the thing that it does pretty well is just a thing that I don't like.
Well, the nice thing is you can have your own opinion and not like some things and you won't get crucified.
Yeah.
But I got the nails already.
Oh,
This is my favorite anime.
never mind. Next time you don't have the right opinion. You won't crucify.
Overall, pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll watch this show eventually.
So I was actually just gonna say that. So final question for you is if you're gonna watch this.
yeah, I've always planned on watching it. It's just kind of low on my list now.
Yeah.
I think the
What
thing
if
that-
I plan on buying the Blu-rays? Will you watch it
Oh.
if I give you the Blu-rays?
Probably, yeah.
you know what
Okay.
the thing I like about the movie and the anime is they have action, they're dark, but at the same time they're kind of cozy.
Yeah, it is. Like you said, that it was a weird vibe of horror and like silliness.
Yeah,
It's kind of how the whole show feels. Like
yeah,
it feels
It's
like
cozy.
things are happening and bad and good things are happening, but at the same time you feel comfortable watching it, which is weird.
Yeah, you're like, I'm comfortable. It's kind of like real life. You hop in your car every day with your cup of coffee, you go to work without realizing the atrocities of the real world that
Yeah.
are going on around you. Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe you're just like in a very specific situation. You're just driving to work and just everyone around you is dying and famine
That's
is
how I
going
feel
on.
like some days.
And you just drive into work like This is normal.
I don't know what way he takes it work, but mine's pretty boring.
I could veer off one road one day, like, oh my lord, what happened? Back up, beep, beep.
There's like this whole plague infecting a city, and everyone's just like, save us. And he's like, whoops, wrong turn.
It reminds me of the Dead Island. You remember the original Dead Island 2 trailer?
Oh.
When the beach guy puts on his headphones,
Oh,
starts
yeah.
running, just like the apocalypse starts happening around
Yeah.
him. A helicopter crashes, a guy's trying to, like, a zombie's chasing after him.
But yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen. Also, season 2 for anyone that's made this
Coming out
far.
this year.
Coming out soon, yeah.
Well, part 1. I'm guessing it's another 24 episodes, so. And it's coming out in the winter, I think?
No,
so,
July.
July.
Damn.
Wow,
Last
maybe
I
we'll get
seen.
the whole season this year.
I think they're going to do part of it in July, and they're going to do part in like September, October.
That makes sense.
They'll probably do like a summer and winter.
Yeah.
They'll take the fall off.
Or give us another movie.
I'll probably watch it around season 2 comes
What
out.
would they make a movie out of?
I don't know.
Unless maybe one of the new arcs are really short.
Maybe.
I have been liking that trend lately where the really popular anime, if the arc is short, they get a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It
works.
especially if they also
And
make
it's not a
episodes of
recap.
it,
Yeah.
like Demon Slayer did with the Mugen Train movie.
And
Then
not
if you're
just do a recap.
then if you're just watching the show, you don't have to be like, oh wait, I have to watch this random movie or it doesn't make any sense.
This is
Yeah.
also the only anime that I own a piece of merch to.
Dang.
I own several.
If I got the finger.
You want the finger? I could give you the
Not that finger.
Oh,
I have one of Sukuna's fingers.
that's true.
And every time I see one of those in any shop, I'm going to buy all of them.
You said that finger was like $15.
Yes.
You can't spend that much on.
I
10
need
fingers.
all. How many fingers did he have?
Oh, right. He had double the fingers. He had 20. I think.
Yeah, I need all 20 fingers.
Oh, geez.
And then I'm going to get the little like curse seals and wrap them up in it. It's going to be great.
And then one day I'm accidentally going to eat one.
Yep. And then we got to go on a whole thing. I got to blow stuff up.
Yep. Anyways, thank you for listening to this Baka review. Do we have anything to say? Or is this about it?
Most adorable character in the whole show is Rika.
Demon or girl Rika?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Most adorable character.
I found
Panda,
the
obviously.
demon kind
I
of.
was going to say Panda.
I found the demon kind of adorable with her weird little yandere voice.
Her voice acting was really good.
It was, but it's just I don't know something about just like this
Yeah.
gr-
I get
this
you.
horrific monster that's like love incarnate.
Yeah.
It's just like that's adorable.
Well, anyways, that's a good way to end this. Yeah, thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, leave a comment and like the video, subscribe. For the podcast, I guess you could just keep doing you because podcasting is weird.
Keep listening to our other podcast. Listen to
Yeah.
our main show.
That'd be great. Anyways, besides for that, thank you, and we'll see you all in the next one.
Ciao, meow.
Bye.
Bye.